Are you getting ready for your job to come to an end? No? You should be. Hey, Creating Maven. I'm Joy Spencer, your reframe specialist, with one important message. Your real work, it's not your job or your career. Your real work is what you create. And what you create is what sets you apart and makes you incomparable. It's your legacy. I'm here to show you a whole new way of working so you can create with your gifts, make a unique contribution, and finally get paid to be yourself. This is Reframe to Create. In just the past 18 months, I know of 3 people in my circle who were at their job one day and the next day, they no longer had one. Yeah, big ouch. And each time, I was shook when I heard the news, so I can't imagine how they felt. But why is this still so shocking to us? Even though we should all know by now that all jobs come to an end, I mean, I've been grilling this into you since episode 11. Even though we know that all jobs come to an end and that we should prepare and evolve now, even though we know this, it's still a shock to the system every time we hear it, especially when that end is not self-initiated. And given the way the job markets have been going lately, you're probably seeing the same. People in your life might be losing their jobs left and right. Or wait, maybe this might be you, in one day and out the next. If it's you, I'm so sorry. What you're going through is brutal, just brutal. But you're going to get through this. I'm here to help you get through this. This kind of experience can really gut you and make you question yourself, but it's also an opportunity. A chance to do things in a completely new way that leaves you in a better place. If you've recently been laid off, episode 92 will help you get restoried, and is the best place for you to start if you haven't done what I'm about to share in this episode. So after you've listened to this, be sure to go back and check it out. Today, I want to help those of you who are still in your job, and I want to help you get ready before your job comes to an end. And it's the perfect time of year to have this kind of conversation, since all around us folks are having conversations about endings and new beginnings. So what better time to prepare for the inevitable end of your job? Even if that end won't necessarily be with you getting fired. Even if that end is a retirement or transitioning into a new role, however it ends, it's gonna end. And the one thing you don't want is to leave that job empty-handed. No way. I've seen it happen too many times with friends, family, colleagues, clients, and even with me. I've allowed this to happen to me. That thing where people who are brilliant, exceptional, and masterful at what they do, but who every time a job ends, they leave their goods behind. They have nothing they can call their own to show for all their blood, sweat, and tears over the months, years, and even decades of hard work. This is not cool. Because just because a job is going to end doesn't mean you should leave with nothing to show for it. So what can you do? Today, I want to share 3 things you should never leave a job without. This means that from day one on any job, you need to be building these things so that you can take them with you when the time comes. And if you've already missed the boat on this, if you're standing on the dock watching this boat sail away because you're 45 days into having already been laid off, and now you realize you've done none of the stuff I'm gonna share, as I said, I got you. This episode is going to help you do different next time. And episode 92 is what's gonna help you right now with the reframe that you need today to be ready for that next. So wherever you are, grab your pen and paper. Let's do this. Okay. 1, don't leave your job without something you've created. This means whatever you do, don't work at your job for a year or more and leave without being able to say you created or initiated something in that place. You want to have at least one thing, even if it's a small thing, one thing that has a before and after you story. Before you were there, it didn't exist. Then you happened upon a scene and then it existed. You want to make sure you show up on every single job as a creator in some way. You don't want your jobs to be a series of, I came, I saw, I crossed some T's, I dotted some I's and maintained a status quo. I did not solve a single problem by creating a single new thing or experience. Don't do this. because having a reputation as a creator is the only way you can take what you do on a job with you. Even if what you create is a thing that ends up belonging to the job in a legal sense, you can still own it because you can talk about it as what you created. And in that way, it's part of your reputation and something you can take with you. It becomes part of your story. So don't leave without something you've created. So take a moment and think about this. When you look at your resume, what do you see that you've created? What do you see that you've initiated? What do you see that you brought to life? Nothing? No good. Do differently next time. You can't just be hammering away in these jobs in a way that your work is completely captured and you have no way to liberate it and take it with you. And the only work you can liberate is the work that you created. Now, I've made this disclaimer before, but I need to make it again. You have to be very, very, very careful when creating on your job. Even though I'm recommending that you do this, you have to do this very carefully. In episode 13, Developing Your Signature Creation, I talked about 4 ways you can create on your job, either to create a product, service, experience, or project. But the first 2, a product or a service, are the 2 that you should shy away from creating on a job because of the intellectual property issues and blurred lines that can come up. But a project or experience, you can create that on your job. You can create that and still, with a clear conscience, talk about it as your own, even if you end up leaving it with the job, even if they keep using it after you've left. You can still claim it as your own anywhere and wherever you go because it's the story of what you created. And maybe, as Natasha Smith said in episode 89, maybe it's something that was part of your create, launch, and leave process. And you can hear more about that create, launch, and leave, and also how it's different from creating and then leading in episode 89. Avoid these pitfalls of creating on your job. So that's the first thing, right? You don't want to leave your job without something you've created. 2, don't leave your job without at least one raving fan referral, preferably someone you reported to. First, let me say this. I am a big time believer in the value of relationships for their own sake. I believe that relationships are for relating. The gift of every relationship is the present of being in another person's presence. That's it. The end. And I need to say this because too many people out here have a transactional view of relationships. They're always talking about how the relationships that they have can help them get somewhere else, help them do something else, or help them climb the status or financial ladder. And it's become common to use the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with, as not just a statement of fact or a way of becoming aware of your character, but it's usually a premise for people to start shifting people in and out of their circles for some transactional advantage. And I think it's gross. But I'm not naive. Relationships aren't all about sipping tea and eating crumpets together, especially relationships on a job. I know different people have different views about whether you can have real friends on a job, and I think it's a crying shame to work at a job and not leave with at least one person who you'd be happy to share a meal or coffee with after you leave. At least one person. Like, come on. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm not going to wade deep into those waters for now. What I do want to talk to you about is your boss, your leader, the folks who you end up reporting to on your job. Do not leave your job without a leader, at least one, who is willing to be a raving fan, who will refer you to others in their circle, and is willing to give you a glowing recommendation. I know this can be a tough one, but I think when we miss out on this, we've almost wasted the job. Think of it. Think of the invaluable power and treasure that comes with having a boss, a former boss, who when you leave them, they can't stop talking about you in glowing terms. And they are willing to speak well of you to your next boss and anyone they can get their hands on to talk to. When it comes to you, they have nothing but good things, glowing things to say. That's powerful. And if you worked really, really, really hard at a job and left without having kept in mind the whole time that you wanted to get this glowing referral when you walked out the door, something has been lost for sure. I don't say this to shame you. I say this to arm you for next time. Don't go into your job. Don't go into any job trying to be your boss's best buddy or their boo. Don't go in getting yourself so emotionally tied up that you get your feelings hurt over all sorts of silly things because your eye is not on the prize. And this is not about people pleasing. This is about being strategic and keeping your eye on that prize. This is about remembering that you are at a job and there is likely another one. This is a job that belongs to the organization, but your work, what you create, your reputation, the good reputation, that is yours. And you want to be able to take it with you because you worked for it. Make sure you don't let office drama, office politics, or getting sucked into foolish games make you lose this. If you can do this, if you're able to equip your boss with the story you want them to tell when raving about you when you leave, you will have been sure to liberate not only your work, but your good name and reputation from your job in a way that you can take it with you. This is a tough one, I know, but I think that's more so because people don't go in with this sharp level of intent and they end up dropping the ball. But not you. Not next time. Keep your eye on your reputation and plan to leave with a powerful one when your job comes to an end, because it will come to an end. Don't leave your job without having created a raving fan and a solid reputation you can take. And this ties to the third and last thing that you don't want to leave your job without. 3, don't leave your job without a strong personal brand that's yours and which stands apart from your organization. In episode 64, The Why and How of Building a Powerful Personal Brand, Diane Diaz warned us of the perils of not having a personal brand before we leave a job because she didn't have one when she got fired, and it is one of her big regrets. Now she's a personal brand strategist showing others how they can avoid the mistake that she made. In episode 82, Katie Anderson showed how you can future-proof your work by building your authentic voice on the job. She started building a personal brand while she was on her job, and that brand was separate from her job. She leveraged her job, of course, but she created this brand in a way that when she left, she had a personal brand that was hers and that she could leverage right away. I know too many professionals who don't do this because, one, they don't think it's necessary because they are just focused on toiling away at their jobs. And two, even if they think they want to, they just don't know how. Katie and I dove deep into how she did it and how you can too. So I recommend you check out that conversation and start doing the work today. Don't leave your job without a strong personal brand that's yours and that's separate from your organization. So that's the work, my creating maven. All jobs come to an end. Your job is coming to an end. But you want to be ready for what's next by taking these 3 things with you. What you create, a raving fan, and a strong personal brand. All jobs come to an end. Get ready for it today. No matter how you're ending this year, whether you're ending it on a high or a low, a new year is on the horizon. And the beautiful thing about a new year is it's an opportunity to tell and live a different story about who you are and what you create. Because all the stuff I talked about today, about taking what you create, creating a raving fan, and having a strong personal brand boils down to your stories. And if you're ready to do the work that'll help you get a reframe about who you are and what you create, I'm ready to help you share this reframe story powerfully so that you can attract the work that gets you paid to be you. To do that, the Restoried Coaching Package is for you. You can find it and book it at reframetocreate.com/restoried. I have the link in the show notes. I hope you'll work with me and make this new year your best ever. See you soon, Creating Maven. Until then, remember to always ask yourself, what will I create?